going on, everybody? Welcome to the Bitchuation Room, Fantastic Friday edition. So happy to have you here. There is way too much news. Like, why? You know what I mean? Like, why even try? Why even try to do this show? What am I doing? Why not just like sit completely live all the time and be like, uh-oh, oops, ooh. You know what I mean? Like, just sit here, wear the Cory Booker diaper, whatever you got to do, and just stream, because that is it's almost like we need a 24-hour news network that isn't bankrolled by billionaires and is scared of their own shadow / Trump. You know what I mean? Like, we just need, like, or just actually talks about issues beyond like a finite window. We are obviously going to be talking about, yet another like, will they, won't they, World War III in the Middle East as Israel attacks Iran unprovoked. Iran has now retaliated. We'll get into that. We're also going to talk about the ongoing war on the American people here in Los Angeles, across the country, the expansion of said war that is promised, of course, in advent of Donald Trump's birthday mañana, which, man, I hope everyone's making a plan to go out to protest. Find your people. If you don't have your people, you'll find them when you get there, okay? And so, stay tuned for that. Also, we're going to be joined very, very shortly by New York City Councilmember Chi Ossé, who is going to be breaking down the New York mayoral race. Huge possibility that there might be a Democratic Socialist as mayor of the largest city in the country. My God, don't we all need that kind of shot in the arm? Maybe the Trump effect will take hold of New York City. So she's going to join in a little bit and also talk about, what it's like to be one of the youngest city council members, or the youngest city council member ever elected, and all the change that he's bringing. Because, yeah, he's delivered in New York. But if you're here right now, you know what to do. You like to share the stream. You like and share the stream. If you're listening in the future, good for you. You know what I mean? Just like, I'm on your time. The world can wait. Okay. Please give this podcast 5 stars. Write something nice. Tell me your favorite guest. Also, if you really want to support the show, you know what to do. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom is where you go. Again, the news cycle is absolutely insane. And if you're like, Francesca, you need to stream more. Francesca, you need to do more videos. Francesca, you need to be like, please support the show so we can do exactly that. Right now it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday situation. Maybe it'll be a Monday through Friday situation. So thank you in advance for everyone who has. If you also want to become a member on YouTube, you get access to all the, not as many perks, but you get access to some of the perks, like our bonus episodes on Wednesday. We had a local LA-based journalist to talk about what's been going on the ground, Constanza Eliana. We also had Ben Dixon on. And of course, we got into Trump's, his parade, his Confederacy. The fact that it's like, he's a Klansman. Does that help? Does that help us understand this moment a little bit more? Oh, and I almost forgot, because it hasn't even been 24 hours, but we will be talking about Senator Alex Padilla of California being wrestled to the ground by DHS goons. There is just so much to talk about, and I'm glad we're doing it now, because I will be taking a little vacay next week. I'll be off all next week, but don't worry, there'll be a very, very dope video coming at you, a little bit of a long form bitchuation room for those of you who might have been wanting that. So stay tuned, and thank y'all for being here. I'll read your comments throughout the show. But first, let me bring in my guest. He is a New York City council member who was elected auspiciously at the same time as Eric Adams. And look at how that turned out. Let's see how many bribery charges my guest has. Please welcome Chi Ossé.
Thank you so much for having me on, Francesca.
Thank you for being here. Like,
zero bribery charges.
That we know of for now. So it's so refreshing to have you on. I've been following you on Twitter. and seeing, I think one of the first things I saw about you was, actually you talking with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez ahead of the 2024 election. It was an interesting interview. It was a good interview. And you were just kind of like naming what the elephant in the room, which was like, Kamala Harris wasn't necessarily doing it for a lot of voters. And, again, I have my thoughts on who cares if she's doing it for you, but like you were like, look at what we're in right now. But you've done a great job of also working on with social media and all this. And as a young New York City council member, what's it like being in city council now? And ever since Mayor Eric Adams was, has been in office, like I just, because I want to talk to you because you seem like you actually talk about it, structural inequality. I'm curious your thoughts on, this massive pro-police propaganda that Eric Adams engages in.
Yeah.
But what has that been like for you, kind of being at this young, I'm assuming progressive elected at the same time that this corrupt ass mayor has been your boss, or were you, not your boss, but working with him?
Yeah, I mean that's a great question. It's something that I deal with every single day because it's my job. I ran for office in the summer of 2020. At the height of the protests that took place in the wake of George Floyd's murder, and it felt on the streets like some change was going to happen. It inspired me to run for office, mainly to take aim at our bloated New York Police Department budget and reinvest some of those funds within some other agencies that provide safety within our communities. And I got elected, with a wave of progressives within New York City, but also something that we saw change within the political zeitgeist, not only of our city, state, but country, was that we were seeing this moderate wave of Democrats come in, right? Even after this protest movement came in. And Eric Adams got elected as kind of the mouthpiece of that movement. I remember,
Right.
I'm forgetting which journalist, was it Nate Silver, who said Eric Adams is going to be the president in 4 years or some, crazy shit like that. But Eric Adams was, the bastion of this new movement of moderate energy. And it was really hard as a leftist, as a progressive, coming into politics, with having, a president, governor of New York State, as well as a mayor of New York City, be these like centrist corporate Democrats. And working within that structure, I had to get creative, right? I knew that some of my bills around housing, around public safety, around, a lot of these progressive ideals weren't going to move in these traditional ways. So I started utilizing social media as an organizing tool to advocate for economic populism. And people were listening to that. People have always been, craving, these issues, but I found a way to communicate them really well through this medium of social media. So even with Eric Adams, with his bribes and his shitty leadership, I've been able to usher through amazing legislation. Recently, we passed a bill that banned forced broker fees in New York City, beating the $1 million real estate lobby of New York. And that was done through these untraditional organizing tactics. So
I really wanted to ask you about that because here you are. I mean, looking amazing, obviously dressing for the occasion, because this is when that bill to eliminate broker fees, which are just automatic fees that are placed on renters, no matter whether they used a broker or not. They just sort of are this vestige. I lived in New York City for 7 years. I remember that. And here you are, and I love this.
We just voted to kill forced broker fees in New York City. I'm leaving City Hall right now where we just passed my bill, the FAIR Act, which requires that whoever hires a broker pays the fee. So tenants are done paying fees to brokers they never wanted nor hired for apartments they found themselves. The fight lasted over 1.5 years. We were up against a multi-million-dollar real estate lobby that threw everything against us, but the people were on our side. The passing of this bill proves that government can work and progressives deliver results for the people. Follow along for updates, but for now, just know we just changed New York forever.
And this just went into effect, Chi,
Yeah.
yesterday, I believe. But I'm trying to understand, like, how were you able to actually get this bill through? Because it's one thing to like motivate the people, but was this a ballot proposition, or did people just call their council members and to really push this through? How did you do it?
Yeah, it was actually more the latter point that you made, right? It was inside and outside strategy. Like we used traditional political organizing, where we reached out to multiple labor unions to get them to support this bill. We were having one-on-ones with as many of my council colleagues as I possibly could. Not all of them progressive, but I really needed to pitch to them that this was a bill that I believe to be common sense and would benefit their constituents. And even many of them were not there yet unless I had to show some energy from the outside. So we made this bill a popular issue in New York City. Utilizing TikTok and Instagram Reels. We made several videos that went viral. We were the first politician that went on that show Subway Takes that you see online. And we spoke about this issue where it became something in New York public consensus, where individuals were calling their council members at unprecedented rates to pressure them to sign on to this bill. So with a mix of old school political organizing and new school political organizing, we got it past the finish line.
I mean, and I think it's really interesting because, we now are at a time you see the police state basically come down on the people of Los Angeles and the people of the country. And I know, the people in New York City as well. And yet I remember having Councilmember Tiffany Caban on my show live like years ago. And she was like, look, despite, the unpopularity of the police, despite all of the transgressions, the brutality, that it is so politically unpopular to even move money out of the cops or have imagine alternatives to safety. And so I find it interesting that it's like, sort of, all right, what's a different issue that is still so much of an economic justice, a racial justice issue? Obviously, housing is incredibly discriminatory. What is another, bill that feels that we can get sort of the political, establishment to, we're not going to have as much resistance, but at the same time, you had the real estate lobby. I mean, how the hell did city council not just get wined and dined to death until this bill wasn't passed?
Right. I mean, I think one of the provisions or issues that I'm really excited about is something that mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani is pushing through, and that's freezing the rent. This is something that is completely under the jurisdiction of the mayor of New York City. It's something that I've organized to do within my time in the council. And I'm really putting a lot of my efforts right now into getting that man elected, because it needs to happen. It needs to show not only that progressives can lead, but it can lead towards some of these issues that are popular across political ideological lines, and that's affordability, right?
Let's play a little bit, because yesterday, I mean, let's not talk. What we're here for really is to talk also about Zohran Mamdani's candidacy. He's surging in the polls. I have like my questions about, and my fears, of course, of Cuomo. But we'll talk about it. But early voting starts tomorrow. Is that correct? On a Saturday?
Yes.
So New Yorkers, you have a day off. Go vote. And it ends, I believe, what is it, the 23rd or 24th? Or when was the last day to vote?
On the 22nd. 22nd. And then the 24th is election day.
Election day. Amazing. Okay. So you got to go in person the 24th. And canvassers are out. They're hitting the streets.
They really are.
I hear that for some reason there's a lot of hot people who are canvassing for Zohran. That's what the group chat is telling me.
I hear that too.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so last night there was, I believe, the second mayoral debate. And here's Mamdani just kind of like sticking it to Cuomo. This was probably one of the best moments. He didn't quite, I'll give my notes because I'm such an ass, but take a listen.
To Mr. Cuomo, I have never had to resign in disgrace. I have never cut Medicaid. I have never stolen hundreds of millions of dollars from the MTA. I have never hounded the 13 women who credibly accused me of sexual harassment. I have never sued for their gynecological records. And I have never done those things because I am not you, Mr. Cuomo. And furthermore, the name is Mamdani, Mamdani. You should learn how to say it because we got to get it right.
You should learn how to say it because I'm going to be the next mayor.
I think he was going to say that, but I think he was like,
I don't know. I don't want
to. I think I wish he did, but maybe he didn't want to jinx it,
Right. But you always have to say that. You got to project that. I mean, that was just beautiful. Because of course, we're talking about Cuomo, but I mean, maybe even let's talk about Cuomo. he's just Zohran's rattling off all of these things, these insane things. I mean, again, the sexual assault, I mean, and misconduct over here politically, whether it's being just the worst Democrat, open corruption. Yes, the MTA, putting people from nursing homes back into their nursing homes when they had COVID, trying to cover that up. I mean, it's on and on and on with him, but this guy won't go away, and he represents so much of like corrupt Gotham. Like he's so Gotham, but like, so tell me about, just what a challenge it is to try to get Cuomo out of here, and meaning don't rank him, don't get him elected.
I mean, Cuomo comes from a political dynasty, right? He is the ultimate political Nepo baby right outside of the Kennedys. His dad was governor, right? And when it comes to New York City elections, and that's where I think I have most of my expertise, a lot of older people of color are a large block of the voting base here in New York. I represent Bed-Stuy and Crown Heights, which is a gentrifying but predominantly Black neighborhood where a lot of the seniors who love me and have voted for me, love Cuomo because they love Mario Cuomo. They love seeing Cuomo on the TV. And, some of the, issues that he has, some of the problems that he has aren't really problems to them. So, when you have this loyal base of Democratic voters within New York City, it led to Cuomo thinking he had a chance to jump back into this race, and the polling said that. He has 100% name recognition. People still don't like him, but there's a lot of new faces in this race, and a lot of New Yorkers didn't start paying attention to the mayoral race until this past week. And sometimes they just vote for the name that they recognize, which is very unfortunate because he is a very unfortunate, disgraced governor and elected official. But I really do believe that the Mamdani campaign and the entire Don't Rank Cuomo campaign that has existed within the city has a real shot at retiring Cuomo once and for all.
What do you tell people when they say, okay, but I know Cuomo? I mean, and I think that's a really, it's just that. It's just, I know him. I know the name, right? What do you lead with when you talk about, is it talking about Cuomo, or is it talking about a chance at something so different?
Well, I think it's a mix of both. And, I as someone who represents a neighborhood that has seen a lot of displacement and gentrification, I point to the fact that he was governor for 10 years. A lot of these problems that we are experiencing, whether it be displacements, gentrification, mental illness that you see on the streets, these are the effects of 10 years of poor leadership. And then I point to new energy, someone who is not accepting money from billionaires and millionaires and MAGA donors, someone who's offering this platform of economic populism. This is something that we should turn to, right? How are we going to, and a lot of these voters who support Cuomo are anti-Trump, right? We're very pro-Kamala. Of course. We cannot, point towards Donald Trump and say that this man's a sexual harasser and this man is on a journey of vengeance, and then elect someone who has the same rap sheet. So I think that's been the messaging that I've been engaging with my constituents, especially the seniors, especially those who like Cuomo. It has been effective. I think they're still a little wary of a Democratic socialist just because of the S word. But I think the strategy right now is to not have them vote for Cuomo at all. And that would increase the chances of a Mamdani mayoralty.
Mamdani, who is surging in one new poll. I mean, there's a lot of polls that basically have Cuomo ahead, and we know it's ranked choice. I guess I want to ask you about just the ranked choice and the turnout. This is a primary. It's a Democratic primary. Who generally turns out and who generally does not? And what does Mamdani need to win it in terms of turnout?
Yeah, so usually who turns out is older voters, right? Across racial lines, especially in some of the outer boroughs. The outer boroughs, elected Eric Adams 4 years ago. 25% of eligible Democratic voters voted in the last mayoral election. If we can bump that up to 33%, which I do believe is the strategy of the Mamdani campaign, we can beat Andrew Cuomo. As someone who utilizes social media often in my political organizing, seeing what the Mamdani campaign has been doing and engaging people, young and old, who have felt disengaged by the democratic process, especially within the primary process, I truly believe is going to put them over that finish line. There are young people, my cousins, who just turned 18 are registering to vote for Zohran Mamdani, right? There are so many people that I'm encountering who you would never guess are energized voters who are excited to show up to the polls on June 4th and elect this man to be mayor. And I don't believe that many of the polls that we're seeing, it's truth that they're not, calling unlikely voters like these new people who are registering to vote. And I think it's going to be an upset for the Cuomo campaign. Maybe I'm speaking too early, but I'm very excited about what the show of force is going to look like.
I also think that the fact that the progressive wing of candidates did not come together in 2021 to, decide who they were going to bolster and support, and kind of led to an Eric Adams, and everyone kind of went down through their own scandals and this and that. I think also is sort of another okay, this is our second time. It's ranked choice. We got this. We can figure out how to do this. And I know that Cuomo and Zohran and Brad Lander just
endorsed today,
co-endorse one another, which is great. I am also I'm someone who's seen ranked choice really almost is the operative word, but come incredibly close to ousting London Breed back in whatever it was, which was amazing. And it was because the progressives campaigned together. They really were we're 1 and 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit oh God, I think the Lander, Zohran thing has come late.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I am also just I agree with you that if the turnout can be, a lot of folks are who are more disengaged, may not even turn out anyway. But if you are engaged, and wanting to go out, that can be the difference versus a general when it's a lot of people just kind of to, and let's just talk about what it would mean. What are the programs of Zohran? Zohran's been on the show. Was he on the show? He was on the show. I've interviewed him many times. A couple times now.
I think he was on. I think my team just told me that before.
He was on Zateo. I know I interviewed him on Zateo, and I believe here as well. But he talked about free buses, freezing the rent. What does that mean to freeze the rent? Because I guess I just also wanted a name. I left New York in 2013. Earlier. Sorry, what am I talking about? 2007. I left New York in 2007.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I lived there from 2001, 2007. I left there, and when I sort of came back 10 years later, and just to visit and whatnot, I was living out of the country. When in 2007, there were unhoused people. Rent was still high. It was bad. It was bad then. But the level of inequality, the pace of gentrification is something that in the last, whatever it is, 20 years, is just remarkable. I had not seen anything like it. And actually, having come from also living in San Francisco, where there is a lot of inequality, that's very striking. New York was never at that level. And now New York is very much at that level. And it has everything to do with housing. So what is this idea to freeze rent?
Yeah, it's common sense. There is this mayoral board called the Rent Guidelines Board, which is filled with individuals who are appointed by the mayor. Former Mayor Bill de Blasio froze the rent I think he did it, 2 years under his tenure. The affordability crisis right now is out of control. The least that we could do in terms of being the least that the mayor could do in terms of being the leader of the city is freeze the rent for those who are truly bogged down by the cost of living crisis. And what I appreciate about the Mamdani campaign and what Zohran is pushing forward is it doesn't just end there, right? He also has a plan to address the housing shortage that we're seeing within the city, and building, 200,000 affordable homes. Also, open to private development within our city to address the 1.4 vacancy rate. This is an individual who is approaching our housing problem with a yes and approach. And that's why he has my endorsement, because this speaks to the very reason people are being displaced, people are being put on the street, and that people are feeling like New York City is not a home that's for them anymore. And I personally, as a native New Yorker, want a mayor who is going to take this issue very seriously, and he's the one who's doing it.
I love it. And I also think it's going to be an interesting test, and not the only test, but I do think that we're in a time when, as we open this interview, you talked about centrist Democrats kind of not doing leadership. And we see that with Chuck Schumer of New York, who is, prefers the sort of like rollover, method.
He needs to go.
Yeah. No. And I love hearing you say that. And I think that it's interesting because it's also a sort of a referendum on, is the best defense to a true authoritarianism, is that best defense someone who wants to work with authoritarianism? Is it someone who runs their own kind of authoritarian like structures, like Cuomo did as governor? So like that, I think, is also like are Democrats ready to actually throw down with something new that actually will listen and respond to the people?
Yeah. I mean, I want a mayor who is not going to, first and foremost, Cuomo saying that he's going to work with the president, with Donald Trump, isn't even true. I don't even think he'll be able to do that. I think Donald Trump wants Eric Adams or Cuomo to win as mayor, because he'll use the justice system as a tool to control them as puppets, right? I think we're already seeing that Cuomo has a looming case right now that the judicial system wants to.
Yeah, like why would you you're just gonna give yourself a new Eric Adams situation?
I mean, well, Andrew Cuomo is running to finish Eric Adams' second term, right? Like that's the issue at hand. And they're not even going to be able to work with Trump, right? They're puppets of Trump. But long story short, I mean, we need a mayor who will really stick it to the federal government. New York and New York City is an economic powerhouse. The amount of our tax dollars that supports the federal government is beyond, right? And we need executives who understand that and use that as a leverage point to push back against this current hostile administration. We don't need to work with them. We do not need to work with them. The didn't work with them. You know what I mean? And we fared well.
And I think Mamdani his response to this has been just so spot on. Like I am consistently surprised at how just how quick thinking and how on point he is under pressure. When he's asked, and maybe he was ready for this, question, but when he's asked about you're a socialist, so won't Trump hate you more? And Zohran's like, Trump hates any Democratic mayor. Yeah. And Trump is going to hate any Democrat. But who's going to stand up to him? Yeah. And I thought that was really, really apt because, we're in this time of monsters and you either there's no going halfway with them. Chi Ossé, I want to give you, let you go. Thank you for your time. Number one, what are you doing for the next 10 days? I know people are locking in for the Zohran race. And if folks are listening in the New York City and they're in New York, how can they plug in?
Absolutely. So I'm also running for re-election, and we're going.
Oh, no big deal. You also have to be reelected.
We're going to be doing a lot of partnerships with the Mamdani campaign and doing some poll site visibility. Early voting starts tomorrow, so we're looking for volunteers to just show up and hand out both my literature as well as the Mamdani campaign's literature. I really want to make sure my district goes to Zohran this year. Really want to make sure that no one in my district ranks Andrew Cuomo, and that's definitely a priority of mine. So if anyone listening is in New York City and wants to volunteer for Zohran's campaign, volunteer for my campaign, get us both past the finish line. But let's make sure that we elect Zohran as our next mayor.
Chi Ossé, everybody, please also give Chi a follow here. Can you just drop your handle? Let us know what your handle is.
Of course, my Instagram's Chi Ossé, CHIOSSE, TikTok Chi for NYC, and my Twitter is Ossé Chi.
I really appreciate your content. I really appreciate you getting out there. I kind of think that, you know, you are doing sort of like the subway takes, but like the political subway takes, which is even more, you know, interesting and necessary in my book. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Francesca.
All right, take care. Everybody in New York, come on now, let's lock in. I am so terrified. I am like so nervous for New York City because I really, really want this. And yet I feel like we live in a time where we, you know, we can't have nice things because people are the worst. And, you know, political dynasties are what they are. I also think there's like an interesting play in terms of, how you rank, right? And the interesting thing in New York also is you have to rank 5 candidates, which is why they're saying do not rank Cuomo as any of those 5 candidates. But what's important to know is that actually, if you the person with the least amount of votes, right? Those who vote put them first. Like if I'm like going to be booted out of the ranked choice, and you all voted me first, the second person you voted for gets counted. So your vote counts, but your second choice vote. So it's a little bit of it's a lot of bit of a argument for strong candidates to also work with weak candidates. And that's why you saw, I believe, Cuomo get the endorsement of, is it Brittany Ramos? So sort of a very disappointing, I think it was Brittany Ramos. I might be completely messing that up. But yeah, it's Margarita on the Rock says it's confusing. It's confusing. It's confusing. And I just wanted to share this one little video because I found this really helpful. Okay. This is the part that I like. This is how does ranked choice voting work? I did one of these, but I can't find it. It was online. I can't find it. Votes.
Under ranked choice voting rules, it's not enough just to get the most votes. You need a majority.
More than 50% of the votes.
Purple's ahead, but it has only 7 votes.
It needs at least 11 to win.
So we eliminate the color in last place.
Sorry, Orange fans, we're going to your second choice.
2 more for green.
1 for purple.
So you see how that just worked? So it's like, so orange, the people who voted orange were like, sorry, you're getting booted. Nobody got over 50%, which is very good. And then they go to their second choice.
1 for purple.
But no color has 11 votes yet.
Still no majority.
Bye-bye,
blue.
1 more for purple.
4 for green.
And we have a winner.
So this is all just a reason to be like, don't even put Cuomo on the ballot, lest your vote, your third or fourth vote, be counted, you know, in his favor. And producer Paige decided to show up. No, producer Paige reminding me that actually you don't have to rank 5, which is my thing. Is like, if you don't have to rank 5 in New York, which I've heard varying things about, then you just rank 2. I mean, I'm like, what's, you know, just rank everyone but Cuomo. Or just, you could also just rank 1. Shit, I don't know. I just, it's weird to me that like we would, anyway, I'm nervous. I am nervous. I'm just going to name that I'm nervous, but I also like, I think no matter, and I say this in a not like, you know, not defeatist way, but no matter what happens, Zohran is going places. He's going to be mayor. It's going to happen. He's amazing. You know, if God for fucking bid Cuomo is mayor of New York, this dude's going to flame out immediately. Something awful is going to happen. Like, this dude's not long for this political world. So I'm not like, again, Zohran's young. Someone like Chi is young. I think we need to fight for this, but it's also like about name recognition and it's about the long haul. And so even if this doesn't happen, I want us to be like, all right, let's, you know, take the long view because it's just amazing. The candidacy that he's run, the campaign that he's run is truly awesome. And I did, gosh, all of my my tabs are all messed up because like that's my life right now. But you know, Mamdani has had like a really strong answer when it comes to like the question that only he received, which is, will you go visit Israel? And he's like, I will visit the Jewish community in New York and stand with them wherever they are. I don't understand why this is a question. And then they're like, well, but do you believe that, you know, Israel's a right to exist? And he's like, I believe it has a right to exist as a democratic state. And I'm like, oh, goddamn, don't make me fall in love with you even harder. Here is Andrew Cuomo being asked whether he's ever visited a mosque. Hey, how about that?
This was an issue in the 2018 campaign when you were running for re-election, when they said that in 7 years you had never visited a mosque. Did something happen in the several years beyond that?
I believe I have. I know I've participated in many.
I believe I have. First of all, there are a lot of Muslim Americans living in New York. It is right? I mean, we're talking about one of the diverse places, on planet Earth. There are mosques. Like, you should probably visit one if you want people's vote. I believe I have at some point. Maybe.
I know I've participated in many forums.
Did they not give you enough money to go visit? Is that what happened?
With imams. I am not, off the top of my head, I can't tell you where I went, but I'll check the record and I will.
So I thought that was just brilliant because it was a little bit of a like clapback to the whole will Zohran visit Israel question, which again is we cannot conflate Israel and you know, the Jewish people of New York, but you know, this is where we are, this is where we have been. Yeah, I don't know, man. I get Trump vibes from Cuomo. That's why people somehow liked Cuomo, because they're like, oh, it's like he's not an evil Trump. It's like a what if Predator, but you know, minimally less awful. And it's just like, he's tired. Look at Trump. He's tired. He's so tired. He does not want to be there. He's like, it's either this or some, you know, I join my brother on News Nation. He doesn't know. I do think Zohran has a great chance of winning this primary. I'm nervous. I think he's got a great chance. And I think there will be fuckery before the general election. So it's game on, baby. If he wins, it's game on. Very exciting times for New York City. Love Chi. Okay, guys, let's talk about it. Good Lord. Thank you, or Ragas98. FYI, even if Zohran doesn't win the primary, since he's endorsed by WFP, he can run on the party line in November. That would probably be the easiest, since Cuomo or Adams would split the votes. Yeah. I know he can. I'm not sure if WFP is going with that line, but I think they should. It'll be very interesting to see. Like I said, there's a lot TBD. Yay, Tanya Dodgers attending the Jill Cisneros town hall and Covina protest. Good for you. There is so much activity out here in LA and the greater LA and the Inland Empire and on and on and on. Man, these ICE agents are getting kicked out left and right of their hotels and all this. But let's talk about it. Iran has obviously responded to Israel's attack, multiple rounds of attacks on supposedly the Iranian scientists, nuclear scientists, but we know that attacks have killed people, they've killed civilians, they've killed children. Israel, once again, going buck wild, like we all knew that it was going to happen, like it did, not just on the people of Gaza, but in Lebanon, already in Iran, you know, taking out a leader of Hamas. So on and on and on and on. We've seen Israel do this before. We've also seen them do precision strikes before, which is always the question of like, why can't they do that in Gaza itself? But now Iran has retaliated. Dropsite News putting out this video of Tel Aviv. I believe they've targeted the Ministry of War specifically. And remember, there is such a thing as the Iron Dome. It is a U.S. funded weapons missile defense system that basically shoots down any missiles that come at Israel from any, outside nation. There's some missiles going up. They're being launched, I believe, or defense missiles. To shoot down anything coming at them. And then, oops, okay. So that is Tel Aviv. I believe that is the Ministry of War. And it is, once again, we are flirting with World War III. And this was supposed to be a peaceful time because Donald Trump was going to end all wars. Remember when he said he was going to end the wars and he was going to go negotiate peace, and no new wars were started under Donald Trump's first administration, except for the 400% increase in drone strikes that the U.S. did. And now we are here. And specifically what happened was that Israel tried to take out these leaders of, military leaders in Iran in order to kind of stun the leadership and have them not retaliate. And they have retaliated. It's unclear how many casualties, if any casualties, in Israel from the missiles on Tel Aviv. We do know apparently that Israeli ministers themselves are in hiding, that they're like, oh shit, like, of course, and they did, sort of on purpose. They've taken cover underground, and yeah, man, this is kind of what it was always going to be. So sites in Tel Aviv were hit after a waves of Israeli attacks devastated Tehran's military chain of command. There's more updates. This is from the New York Times. Apparently 40 people have been wounded in Tel Aviv, according to a tally from 3 hospitals. Most patients are moderately injured. Yes, Israel has been prepared. By the way, Israel apparently was preparing for this strike for months and months and months, kind of like the beepers attack in Lebanon. They had been prepping for this. So right now, the Trump administration's line is that they didn't know this attack was going to happen. I mean, if they were planning it for a year or like months and months and months, you probably can bet that they knew this was, that the United States knew this was going to happen. But this is all going alongside the Trump administration trying to renegotiate an Iran deal, basically trying to get back into the deal that they got out of in the first Trump administration. I mean, we all know that like the one guy who's really beating it right now is John Bolton. That neocon is very, very excited about this moment. But basically Trump pulled us out of it. And now he's like, well, we want back in because we don't want you to have nuclear weapons. Oopsies, guess we didn't do it soon enough. And we all know the reality, which is the same reality that faces us in Gaza and in Palestine, which is that Israel, if it wants something to fail, it will make sure it fails. Israel does not want a negotiation for a ceasefire in Gaza. Israel does not want to comply with international law on the expansion of settlements in the West Bank. Ergo, Israel will continue to thwart the law, and it will continue to lash out. When it comes to any kind of peace negotiations with Iran, if you remember, under Obama, Israel freaked the fuck out. They were like, oh, no, I'm sorry. There cannot be peace in the Middle East, even though I say I want it. We don't want a nuclear agreement with Iran, not because we're actually afraid of them having nuclear weapons, but because our entire existence to be armed to the teeth and say everyone's out to get us and nobody believes in our ability to exist, and our broader project of conquering all of the West Bank, that all doesn't have a big boogeyman behind it anymore. You can't normalize relations with Iran. You can't come to some sort of agreement where they get to enrich uranium up to the point of using, having nuclear power, but just below the point of having a weapon. That screws us. And so not only did Netanyahu visit visit Congress, he spoke on the floor, I believe, of the Senate with the invitation of a bunch of AIPAC Israel lobby-backed Republican senators. over Barack Obama to basically implore the American, populace, but American politicians to not go along with this. And lo and behold, Senator Tom fucking Cotton sent a letter that was like to Iran, like, look, Iran, I know that this black man wanted to negotiate peace with you, but he doesn't know what he's doing. Ergo, anything you guys negotiate's not real, right? Like, and don't get it twisted, because in Iran, they're also every country is like our country. We are not different. Iran has hardliners. Iran has centrists. Iran has, more progressives. Iranian hardliners were like, don't buy this deal. Don't do that. This is terrible. Don't sign anything. How can we trust them? And so we've got our hardliners who are now back in power. They've got their hardliners who are only going to be further emboldened. And yay, everyone gets ruled by extremists. So this is sort of, including Israel. I did want to play, though, because it was interesting to get like Gideon Levy's take on like whether the Israeli population, 40 people wounded, I believe there's scores of dead in Iran as well. I think it was something like it's like 70, 78 people, including in apartment buildings, because they're targeting, again, Israel likes to target its targets at home. So this is not about like, oh, we targeted them on the job. No, they're targeting people specifically when they're at home. Apartment buildings were attacked. But I did want to get Gideon Levy's take on this, because apparently Israelis are like, yeah, this is good. We like this.
It's a very intensive emotional mixture. On one hand, there is the fatigue of the last 20 months in which Israel is attacking Gaza on a daily basis, and many soldiers are there. The war against Hezbollah in the north, people are sick and tired. On the other hand, the James Bond sentiment wakes up now to see all those military impressive achievements. Nobody can deny those are impressive military achievements, and this gives some pride to Israelis. Israelis like it very much. Israel is, as you know, quite a militaristic society, and those achievements, killing here and destroying there without any casualties, obviously, until now, it's a great achievement.
So he's saying basically that the sentiment is that Israelis feel proud that they got these scientists, and it's, the great achievement. Ask the 40 people who were wounded whether or not this is worth it. Ask the people whose families are still being held by Hamas whether they think that we should be expanding a war with Iran when you say you're going to get the hostages back. Again, it's all BS. They know they don't care. We know they don't care.
But nobody pays attention to the price, the potential price, the possible price, which none of us know what will it be. And above all, there is no very clear answer. Where are we aiming to? Will we bomb every second year another location somewhere in the Middle East? And by this, Israel will continue with the same policy, the same strategy, living on the sword forever? Can't tell you. But right now, people are very proud of what happened and very worried from the retaliation, which might come any moment.
And it did. And this was obviously before the retaliation happened. Fewer than 100 missiles Iran fired back at Israel. And they hit central Tel Aviv and the suburb of Ramat Gan. Most of the missiles failed to reach their targets or were intercepted, according to Israeli military chief spokesman Brigadier General Effi Defrin. An interesting little moment when it comes to the reason for this war, and I'm going to play it. It's from Piers Morgan, sadly, but Netanyahu is basically saying, okay, look, we targeted these nuclear scientists because this is all about Iran getting nukes. We're very concerned about Iran getting nukes, but we don't want to do it the diplomatic way. We don't support any diplomacy. We don't support what the Trump administration has been doing to try to get diplomacy. We know that Trump has been trying to get back into the nuclear deal. We don't want that. Now they're saying something different. Now they're like, Iranian people, rise up against your leaders. Go forth. which is a very different and I think far more chilling thing to say, which is effectively, we want regime change in Iran. We want a different government, and we're going to bomb you into submission. But like, who's going to rise up? What are you even talking about? How is this going to work? And this is the same shit that they're like, hey, babies of Gaza, rise up against Hamas. Like every time they said this with Lebanon. Hey, Lebanese people, rise up against Hezbollah. Every time they say that, you know some next level shit's about to go down, because that's their sort of pretext to say, I mean, the rest of that sentence is, if you don't rise up against X, government or people or group that I don't agree with, we're going to bomb you. And we might leaflet you first, but you will be held responsible for that. So again, the mission creep of, first it's to go after the terrorists. First, it's to get the nuclear weapons program that doesn't exist. And then it's like, well, what about all regime change? What about if you just, go away? So, Donald Trump, of course, because he doesn't want to look like a pussy, and he wants to look like he was strong, and he wants to look like whether or not he did or didn't know about the attack, which again, depending on who you believe, Wall Street Journal is saying that they didn't know about the attack. I think it's really difficult to say, even if he did, he would have been fully on board with it. But again, he's got his envoys. Steve Witkoff is like trying to do this negotiation. Trump somehow thinks this is the way to negotiate, as if Israel thinks that. Israel's like, no, we're doing this because we want no negotiation. But that's cute that you somehow think that bombing people will bring them to the table. You're going to have to do, in fact, it might, but you're going to have to do a fuck ton of it on Iran. You know what I'm saying? Like, Israel couldn't even get, I mean, they've gotten Hamas to the table, but like, what's the success story in Gaza? What have they done there? Nothing. They've just kept the war going, because again, it's not about de-escalation. It's not about peace. It's not about negotiation. It's not about the nuclear program, which, put a pin in it because Piers Morgan is coming at you. But Trump said after these attacks, I gave Iran a chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it. But no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got, they couldn't just get it done. Well, okay, but your guy is literally in the Middle East right now. Like, Steve Witkoff is supposed to be in Iran on Sunday. So what are you talking about? Like, you're directly undermining your own fucking diplomat who's trying to do the negotiations. You're just trying to save face to make it look like you approve this, that you think it's great. And then it just descends into the most brain melty fucking geezer ass, tweet here. I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told. And the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world. Okay, so at least there's an admission that it's with our military. It's with our weaponry. I think there were F-35 fighters. I can't remember what else. And Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it. Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they didn't know what was about to happen, and they're all dead now, and it will only get worse. Not necessarily. Like, okay, so not necessarily, right? Because when you take out all of the top leaders, right, they're there for a reason. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, not that, just to play sort of like the analogous to the United States, like if Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth and Tulsi Gabbard, and Kash Patel were out tomorrow, amazing. That would be great, right? But like, the replacements will just be a fucking Pepe meme. Like, it's not like the people who are now in charge of Iran are more level-headed than the people you killed. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, the whole point, and again, this is why, and we know a bit about who was actually killed, but it's also really important to know that, like, if any of the people killed were involved, which I imagine they likely were involved in the negotiations for peace or at least operationalizing any negotiation that was made. That's what Israel loves. They love to get rid of people who were ever negotiating or who could have operationalized the negotiation. They want war because they've got all the weapons, and it's a beautiful distraction from Palestine. Beautiful distraction from Palestine. Beautiful distraction from genocide. And they're all dead now, and it will only get worse. There has already been a great death and destruction, but there is still time to make this slaughter, with the next already planned attacks being even more brutal, come to an end. Well, okay, so what does he know? What does he know? No more death, no more destruction. Do it before it's too late. God bless you all. Iran is not stupid. Like, Iran is not stupid. They know. Can you imagine if they were like, yes, you know what? We give up all, even nuclear power. We weren't working on a nuclear weapon, but we give it up. All nuclear power. We'll let Israel personally inspect our country. Would that like be giving up enough? What would Israel do? No, don't. Nah, we don't. We want war, dog. We don't want you to actually do that. Don't put down your weapons. Be scary. Retaliate. We want more. Like, it's not in they're not actually concerned with anyone's safety. They're not actually concerned with de-escalation. Yeah. Witkoff apparently is warning that, Iran could cause mass casualties. I mean, honestly, like, Iran doesn't have an Iron Dome. Like, if you are able to shoot down most of the missiles, now, again, who knows where everything is landing? I'm no expert, but I'm like, someone's getting injured by this. But again, it's such BS to say that, like, Iran is going to be the one to inflict the mass casualties. I just want to play some of this interview with Dave Smith, who's terrible on literally everything else, but was good here, speaking with a representative of Israel. I think who is she? The international lawyer and supporter of Israel, Natasha Haudsdorf. And this was just sort of a telling moment because Dave Smith's kind of hammering her on a lot of her BS, and so his peers. And he specifically brings up the issue of nuclear weapons, which, again, Israel has, and we're just not supposed to talk about it. Israel absolutely has nuclear weapons. This is the open secret, and no, they are not party to any international agreement. The IEA or whatever, IEA, they're not party to any of it because they haven't admitted that they actually have it, even though fucking everybody knows they do.
With this argument with Douglas Murray and now here today, this is about as serious as Dennis Rodman claiming that Kim Jong-un showed him a supermarket full of food. I mean, I don't know what to say here. And it would be equally ridiculous if I went on some Hamas-sponsored tour and then came back telling you that everything they say is correct. Here's the bottom line. I have a much more clear, logical answer. The reason why two former Israeli prime ministers, including Omar, who is a right-winger, who was Sharon's guy, this is not as if this is some left-wing anti-war peacenik or something like that. The reason why two former Israeli prime ministers have come out and said that Israel is committing war crimes in Gaza is because Israel is committing war crimes in Gaza. The reason why Israel will not let journalists into Gaza is because Israel is committing war crimes in Gaza. And the reason why Israel is killing Palestinian civilians in Gaza, and the reason why they're building up more settlements in the West Bank is because, as Smotrich has said, as Katz, the defense minister, has said this week, and as Benjamin Netanyahu has said for years and years and years, their plan is greater Israel. They want Gaza and the West Bank. They call it Judea and Samaria. They believe that it's rightfully Israel's. Benjamin Netanyahu showed up to the United Nations a couple weeks before October 7th with a map where it was all Israel. That's the bottom line. It's why they've been controlling these territories since 1967. See, the truth makes a lot more sense. And by the way, you know that Israel has nuclear weapons, but you won't say it on this program because you're not in the the business of telling the truth about this conflict. You're in the business of defending Israel, which is fine. That's what you want to do. But all three of us know they have nuclear weapons. Maybe we should get into where does international law stand on the US and the UK being partners with a country who's not in the non-proliferation treaty, who has nuclear weapons. Maybe we could have a whole conversation on that next time, Piers. But come on, we all know what the truth is.
No, first of all, spoiler, they never had that conversation because that's too in the weeds and that's too much informing of the actual audience. And Piers Morgan is not in the business of informing people. He's in the business of getting clicks and making people fight about the same issues over and over and over and over and over and over again. But I mean, Dave Smith crushed that. And the added, we all know Israel has nukes, but you won't admit it because you're in the business of lying. And if they did, and they weren't party to the non-proliferation treaty, what does that say about international laws? I mean, what does it say about anything? What does it say about the one country in the world, I mean, other than the United States, who is allowed to skirt all of these laws, although we are party to the non-proliferation agreement? I believe, aren't we fucking party? Or is this one of the things where we're not party to? Are we also like, we're not party to like the International Criminal Court? It's like, yes, we wield it on others, but we don't do that ourselves. Yeah, Seth Evans, yes. When you can say Dave Smith crushed that in a sentence and not have be completely false, someone done fucked up, something terrible. Yeah, please never let me say that again. I really don't want this man to be right. And like, look, he's made a very good point. He sounds like Mehdi Hassan. Like, he sounds great, but like his politics are trash generally. But this is Chris Hazard. Who is this guy? He's an MP, I think, from Ireland. Useful info this morning. Iran has 0 nuclear weapons. Israel has up to 500 nuclear weapons. Iran has signed the non-proliferation treaty. Israel refuses to sign the non-proliferation treaty. Iran has welcomed the IAEA international observers to inspect its nuclear program. Yes, it has. We know it has. And Israel has refused IAEA oversight, because why would it? Why would Israel all of a sudden be party to any international laws when it's been skirting international law since 1967, since the occupation of the Golan Heights, the West Bank, of Gaza Strip? Like they don't, if so long as there are no consequences and they have the global cop in their corner, in which, I mean, we're not even the cop anymore. There's no pretense that the United States is even the cop anymore. We just have all the weapons. You know, I mean, we're not trying to keep any sort of peace or answer sort of any kind of calls. We're in our full cop, progression in our era. But like, why would they? Why would they? Let's see. Okay, no, we are in the NPT. So yay, good on us. Country that actually used nuclear weapons on people. It's the least we could do. Anyway, turning to the war at home, ladies and gentlemen, shit got a little bit crazy yesterday. I do want to talk about Senator Padilla being wrestled to the ground by thugs. And I also wanted to talk about what's going on in Los Angeles, because I know you guys know, and I don't know who watches this show who might not know it, but LA is not being overrun by criminals and thugs, either those protesting ICE or those who are being rounded up and hunted by ICE. Okay? There have been clashes, and I even hesitate to say that. They have been instigated by the cops. In every single instance, they've been instigated by the cops. The mayor, Karen Bass, put a curfew on this city, and police have been attacking protesters who've got signs, who are there. Some of them have goggles and masks on because they know that they're being attacked for peacefully protesting. They're protesting outside of detention centers, federal detention centers. They're protesting in downtown. And yes, sometimes they block traffic, as protests often do. But at no point are they the ones who are instigating shit. Have there been either provocateurs or folks who've thrown rocks? Yeah, that's happened, right? Are there people who've stood their ground? Yes, that's happened in terms of like not trying to be pushed back by the police. Yeah. But by and large, the images that we see coming out of LA are images of cops pushing people, opening fire on them with rubber bullets, tear gas, flashbang grenades, their horses. And just for some context, and I referenced this on Wednesday, this is a line of cops in downtown at night, okay? This is sort of a perfect example. This is a woman who's filming another person trying to get home. It's after curfew, right? Now, if you're listening, what happens is she's trying to walk to her house. She's trying to walk to her apartment building. Yes, people live in downtown LA. I don't advise it, but they do. I'm just kidding. Downtown LA is just a kind of a vibe. The point is people live there. Many people live there. People work there. She's trying to go home. A line of cops who've just decided that they want to block off a street, they shoot her with a rubber bullet in her stomach. Okay? Point blank in her stomach. Take a look.
I want us to focus on this guy right there. Look at him. Trigger happy as fuck.
So
look at that.
This is a woman filming and she says, I want to focus on this guy. And you see a man who's got his rubber bullet gun drawn, just drawn. Nobody else does. He does.
So I just showed you him, right? Look at that. Oh, what's passing by? Where's our money going, right? Where are our tax dollars going, right? Right? Yeah. So we've got trigger happy fucking bitch over here. Look at.
Okay, now she's filming a woman who's walking up to the police line because she's walking on the sidewalk. She's crossing the sidewalk and she's trying to walk on the sidewalk. She is alone, okay? She's a woman alone. I don't even know if she's got a bag on her. Now, the person filming writes, she was trying to get to her apartment. She looks like she went out to like buy something and came back. They're flashing lights at her and they're saying, they're flashing their flashes and they're going, go that way, go that way, go that way. Because we've decided that this is our jurisdiction. And if I can't hold this sidewalk, my God, I don't deserve anything. Oh, this is why I'm protecting everybody from riots.
Telling her to move, but that's a public sidewalk.
Okay, now how many do we have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe like 8 cops who are yelling at her. And this is LAPD yelling at her now. Guy with the gun is still drawn. She's taking baby steps towards them. I think trying to get it within earshot to tell them she lives over there. She needs to walk, or she needs to walk through there for some reason.
They're telling her to move. Watch, if they shoot her.
Okay, that was a rubber bullet. You heard that. Bang. And they shot her right in the stomach and she just sort of like stumbles back. Now she's stumbling away. People who are watching are screaming at them, that's fucked up.
Holy fuck.
And this woman, who is so amazing, dropped her phone and starts running to go help her. Now, again, she was shot with a rubber bullet, obviously, but it's like, yeah. Margarine Taylor Bean, thank you. Tater Bean, thank you for being a member, but also, yeah, it made me cry. I mean, it's disgusting, right? Like, this is the kind of shit that, like, I urge everyone who talks a big game about whether these are rioters, whether these are, there's, violence and evildoers and I urge you to go on the streets. I urge you to go to a protest. I urge you to go to one fucking protest, because it is heartbreaking when you see this. What is heartbreaking about it? It's heartbreaking to exercise your First Amendment right oftentimes on a sidewalk. In the year 2004, I was arrested by the NYPD because it was the Republican National Convention, and I was protesting it. There was massive protests throughout the city, and the directive came down from the Bush administration at the time through the Bloomberg administration that no one should be on the streets protesting. Where was I? I was on the sidewalk. I told my friends, I was like, I'll meet up with you guys later. I didn't want to get arrested that day. I was like, all of my friends were doing direct actions, meaning sitting down in the middle of a street, deliberately getting arrested, trying to stop traffic, right? And I was like, ugh, I don't want to do that. I just want to take photos. I was like, I'm going to take photos. I don't know why I said that. And I was like, I'll go meet up with you guys later. We're on the fucking sidewalk and we get kettled by the, bike cops and arrested. And in this moment, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, it takes about like between getting kettled and being arrested, because kettled just means cordoned off, between getting kettled and arrested, maybe like 30 minutes, right? And the whole time I'm thinking, they're going to let me go. Like it's not me. I'm saying we are on the sidewalk. We're literally marching on the sidewalk against the Bush administration. They're going to let us go at some point because this is bullshit, right? And when they start arresting us, I started getting emotional. And I was like, why am I getting ill? Why am I crying? Like, what's going on? Why? And it wasn't because I was afraid. I had been arrested before. I wasn't afraid of being arrested for demonstrating. I was so incensed that this was our government. And so I urge every fucking freedom talker, everyone who says, America, love it or leave it, all these freedoms we have, you hate freedom, you just don't like freedom, go exercise your freedom. Go on the streets and you'll learn the lesson that millions of people in this country have learned, which is that we don't believe in the First Amendment in this country. The police don't allow you to freely protest. And so long as you are protesting anything that the wealthy and the establishment politicians or any kind of security state, whether it's ICE or whether it's the police, whether you are protesting them, or any policy like an invasion of Iraq, like the genocide in Gaza, if your protest goes against the established status quo, the war machine at home and abroad, you will not be able to exercise your First Amendment right. That's not protected speech. There's only some kinds of speech that's protected. And by speech, I literally mean you being outside with your sign. Okay? And that's the emotion you feel. The emotion of like, oh shit, it's all a lie. It's always been a lie. It is a lie. And so all these fucking Twitter squawkers talking about, that's what happens, or fuck around and find out, or freedom of speech, this and that and that. Oh my God. Shove your dick between your legs. You know nothing of standing up to fascism. You know nothing because you've always been on the side of power. Because you can go on the streets and protect power. Shit, man, Proud Boys get protected by the cops. KKK members get protected by the cops. Patriot Prayer gets protected by the cops. And then people who call themselves Antifa and wear masks and have the audacity to form up a line to protect people, they're the terrorists. They're the ones who are causing. They're the provocateurs. And by the way, there are provocateurs, 100%. There were provocateurs during Occupy Wall Street. There were provocateurs during BLM, and absolutely they're used as a pretext to crack down on peaceful protesters. There's no way you're going to expunge all the fucking cops that are in your midst. That's just not going to happen. But it is not violent to stand up for people. It is not violent to, honestly, like, if property destruction is not violence, in my opinion. I'm just going to say that. No. I disagree with that. It's the same level of violence. And so, again, I urge the libs and maybe the cops in our heads, when we think maybe if the protests were just this way, or maybe if they just wrote a petition, or maybe if they went through it legally, this is the same lie that we're told about maybe if immigrants just went through the right process, maybe if there weren't so many criminals. You guys, we've been propagandized to. And I'm telling you, you've been propagandized to if you buy into the idea that what's happening in LA is a riot. That's propaganda. Please resist that, just like we resist the idea that people are illegal, okay? We have to push back on this. And if you needed any more of evidence as to who we should believe, the cops, the National Guard, or the people who are physically present, or the journalists who are being shot with flashbang grenades, then look at how they treat Alex Padilla, who is a fucking senator, y'all. Now, the backstory to this is that Padilla was getting a briefing in the same building. He was getting a briefing about, I think, about National Guard being deployed. He talks about it. I'll play this video for you. In the same building that Kristi Noem, DHS secretary, you know, a dog killer with too much face filler, in the same building that she was doing a presser. Now she's going on and on and on, and he decides to interject with a question. And that is when this happens.
Senator Alex Padilla, I have questions for the
I am Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for
Secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a
pushed. He's getting pushed by 3 people. A bunch of other people are standing by.
dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your heads off.
No. They pushed him out. Okay, so he's already out of the room. He's out of the fucking room, y'all, right? If you're listening, he gets pushed out of the room, but it's not enough. They have to put him on the ground. They have to put him in cuffs. It's not enough to push him out of the room. Because he's a threat. How dare he? He's a threat. Wow, it's very scary. Very scary what you're doing with your mouth there. It's making all these lip sounds. You know what I'm saying? It's all this kind of accountability. Who are you, a U.S. senator? Pff, are you kidding me? What did you vote? What do you have a right to confirm or not confirm appointments by the president? Yeah. And to be fair, he did not confirm Kristi Noem.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions.
Of course, my ass found the video where he found the video that doesn't show him actually being thrown to the ground. But you know why? Because it's the video that Senator Schumer shared. It's the video. Senator Schumer says, "This makes me sick to my stomach." Show the whole video. Show the whole video. I love it. Oh, Franny, never show anything that Schumer shared.
Sir, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary, because the fact of the matter is a half a dozen violent criminals that you're rotating on your hands off.
Now he's got his hands up. They're pushing him down. Now they want him on the ground.
Hands on your back.
If you let my hands go, I put behind my back.
All right, cool. One hand, lay flat.
Now, again, what the fuck? Like, what the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? Lie on the ground as we're holding violently each of your hands. Like, then we just see him violently pushed to the ground. And then, you know, it plays out like so many cop videos. What is this, dash cam fucking videos for senators? That's where we are right now, people.
Lay flat. Other hand, sir. Other hand. There's no recording allowed out here.
Oops, that you hear, there's no recording allowed. Now, not to be that lib, but I would be remiss to not name that one of the first things that popped into my head, other than, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this to a sitting senator, is also, would they have done it to a white senator? Would they have done it to a white woman, a white guy? Fucking no. The answer is no. I'm sorry. But the fact that his name is Alex Padilla matters. that his dad was a cook. And look, Padilla has done a lot of terrible. I mean, Padilla is like super on board with, with AIPAC and Israel and all this. Not to the degree that like Adam Schiff, our other senator, is, right? But he's not like, he's no angel. But my God, of course, they're treating him like that because he's Latino. Because it doesn't matter if you're a senator. You're an immigrant. You're a brown immigrant, and you deserve to be treated like a criminal. That you saw it right there. Again, I'm sorry to get so lib on you, but that's the fucking truth. Okay. Hypno Amber, that's not a lib thought. That's a pure Max Left, and we proudly wear it. Dude, look, I know the Majority Report has Max Left shirts, but I think they're kind of ugly, so I would like to make better Max Left shirts. Because I love the Max Left, and I am the Max Left. Max Left. Here's Alex Padilla explaining it. I really appreciated this.
I want to begin this video by just saying thank you to everybody who's reached out to me, to Angela, to my office, expressing your support because of what's happened today. It means the world to me. I certainly have heard your support, and I feel your support, so thank you. For those who may not be aware, I was in the federal building in Los Angeles today for a scheduled briefing with representatives of Northern Command because of what's been happening in Los Angeles and Donald Trump's unacceptable escalation of tension here in Los Angeles as the Department of Homeland Security has continued to increase the cruelty and the extremism of their immigration enforcement operations. While I was waiting for the briefing, I learned that just down the hall from where I was, Secretary Noem from the Department of Homeland Security was having a press conference. Now, Secretary Noem and the department we have been calling on and we have been sending letters to since the beginning of the year requesting more information as to what and why they are doing with little to no response. And so I thought, let me go over there, listen in on the press conference. Maybe they're sharing some important information. While I did that, escorted over there by a National Guardsman and an FBI agent, I just heard nothing but increasing political rhetoric, not once, but on multiple occasions.
Wait, by the way, guys, Kristi Noem's going in there saying we're going to purge LA of the socialists, of the radical Marxists. I mean, it's like, it's real, like Nazi level. I mean, it's very scary language. It's full blown. I mean, again, when you hear Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth speak, you're like, oh, you guys are like, you have encrusted yourself in Donald Trump's ass crack so hard. Like you live under Stephen Miller's nutsack. Like that's how much they toe the line. They are automatons. They do not have any independent thought. They really don't give a shit about their positions. They're just like, they're mouthpieces. I mean, Pete Hegseth literally was a mouthpiece. Like Kristi Noem at least has some experience. She was a governor, but like, again, she's auditioning when she's inevitably not brought before the Hague to, have a primetime spot on Fox.
They're claiming that, they're there in full force in Los Angeles because they need to rescue the people of Los Angeles from the governor and from the mayor. And I just couldn't accept the rhetoric anymore. So I had the audacity to try to ask a question. I introduced myself. I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I have a question. And it took all of maybe a second for multiple agents to forcibly remove me from the room, to pin me on the ground and handcuff me. Now, I'm okay. For people who are wondering how I'm doing, I'm okay. But the big lesson here is if they can do that to me, if they're willing to do that to me, a United States Senator, with a question, doing my job on behalf of the people of California and our country, what are they doing to a lot of the folks that are out there when the cameras are not on? Not the dangerous, violent criminals that they say they're targeting. I have no issue with that. But I'm talking about all the otherwise law-abiding, undocumented immigrants who are so key to our economy and so valued in our communities. I think of the farm workers out in Oxnard that a couple of days ago were subjects of the raids. I think of the people at car washes, the day laborers trying to earn a living to help provide for their families. They
Okay. Oh, here this.
think of cooks and other restaurant workers, like my dad. For 40 years, this is how he put food on the table, but now they're being traumatized and terrorized because of the tactics of the Department of Homeland Security under the Trump administration.
So I think this kind of shit needs to be said loudly. Like the fact that we have not been I really respect this senator's approach here. He is not making this about himself. He's like, if they can do this to me, how are they treating everyday people who live in California? How are they treating cooks and people at car washes and farm workers who pick your fucking food, right? And I think that refocusing is so effective and so necessary, and it's something that we all have to keep refocusing on time and time and time again. And it is backed up by some of the heinous things that ICE is doing. I'm going to play that in a little bit, but here's Kristi Noem responding to this, and of course, as if we need to give her space, but let's hear her out.
Yeah, so I thought it was very productive, and I wish that he would have to the Department of Homeland Security, and so I thought it was very productive, and I wish that.
All right, for some reason my audio's not working on this, or at least I can't hear it. Whatever. She said she wishes he would have identified himself. He just needed to identify himself first, and then that would have been okay. No, it wouldn't have been. He did. He fucking did. What are you talking about? I just want to play this because this happened in Boyle Heights, y'all. This is the kind of action that ICE is taking, and every single community has their stories. Every single community is going through this, because just because the protests have taken place, just because people are incensed and rightly incensed, doesn't mean that the ICE raids have stopped. Just because there have been there have been protests all around Los Angeles, and there's been ICE activity all around Los Angeles. So they're every single day, they're not going away. It's continuing, and it's getting worse. This happened in Boyle Heights, is a historically Latino neighborhood still. An ICE ambush, 2 vehicles crashed into a car with 2 children inside and trapped them and tear gassed the car with no regard for the children. Take a listen to this sort of firsthand account, this guy talking about it.
Saying that, La Migra was taking people from here. We got the address, we came as soon as we can. By then, it had already happened. They had already taken a U.S. citizen out of his car. They rammed him. They rammed his car 3 times. They used tear gas on the family. The mom was in the car with 2 kids, one 6 months old and the other one 6 years old.
Oh my, okay. So they rammed the car 3 times. They tear gassed the car, and there were 2 children, a 6-month-old. You rammed the car with children inside. What are we doing here? What the fuck you know what we're doing? I digress. I know exactly what we're doing. We're doing exactly what ICE was designed to do. ICE was never meant to go after criminals. And if you really want to go after criminals, start looking at it, U.S. citizens. Because undocumented immigrants are some of the most law-abiding people in the country, even though you think by their very existence they are a criminal. Tear gas.
So they rammed the car, took tear gas, so they got, and they cornered him right here. And then, the guy came out and they arrested him and took him away. The mom didn't know what happened. She was asking for, information about where he was being taken and stuff. And apparently the guys were smiling at her. We're just like, I don't know, man.
Apparently the guys were smiling.
So, and then the mom was taken to the WWIII has rapid response.
So here's footage of it. There's the car. These are the ICE vehicles. Holy shit. So this is in, I believe, is this Whittier or is this a different spot? Central CSO was first on the scene, which Central CSO we'll talk about in half a second. So here they are. The guns are drawn on them. This is absolutely insane. Ay, ay, ay. So, okay, he's got his hands on his head. He's walking out. 2 cars have rammed the back and the front. And he's left his kids. He's got kids in the car. Yeah, and so this kind of shit, guys, is playing out across the city, across the county. And they're detaining so many people. I want to talk about like actually how those who are being asked to do this, how they're responding to it. But the other thing that's happened, Central CSO is an organization I just mentioned, awesome organization based in Boyle Heights, and one of the activists who's working with them, named Alejandro Orellana, his home was raided by the FBI. Why? He was giving out protective equipment for people who were protesting. On the morning of June 12th, yesterday, in East Los Angeles, the FBI, National Guard, and Sheriff's Department cornered off the street where immigrant rights activist Alejandro Orellana lives. Neighbors came out of their homes, concerned they were witnessing another ICE raid. FBI agents forcibly entered Orellana's home, overturned all of his belongings, seized his electronic property, and then escorted him handcuffed into their vehicles. Central CSO held a press conference to denounce the FBI raid, demanding his freedom and that charges be dropped. The FBI made clear that Orellana's arrest was an attempt to message activists to stop protesting, stating, quote, this is a clear form of political repression against the people who are on the streets. Absolutely it is. He's been charged with conspiracy to commit civil disorders. You guys know, conspiracy to commit civil disorders. This is the same charge as conspiracy to jaywalk. Literally, I would get slapped with that charge every single morning if this is what conspiracy to commit a civil disorder. Blocking the traffic is not a felony. Blocking the traffic is not a crime. If anything, it's a civil violation, if that. Okay? But most people, especially in LA, you block the traffic. Look, we don't have your Ron DeSantis laws in this country, in this state. Should be a country, you know what I'm saying? But Ron DeSantis over in Florida, man, it's like, what is it? I mean, you guys tell me, isn't like 9 people gathered together and it's like, well, that's an unlawful protest. Let's get a Nazi to ram their car through it. Like remember after BLM, that was the whole thing. Well, California doesn't have those laws on our books. So it's just crazy. The FBI, I mean, imagine you're a fucking FBI agent. And this is what you're doing. This is police work. I mean, what a golden age. Speaking of golden ages, it's really a golden age of being an actual criminal. Amazing. Amazing. Yes, please, cops, go focus on everybody else. Don't talk about the drug dealers who are American citizens, the people who cook meth who are Walter White. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys really need a race analysis of Breaking Bad. I want to do a whole sort of like race power analysis of Breaking Bad. Let's put Breaking Bad up to the intersectional lens a little bit. I'm just kidding, but you know what I'm saying? Like for real though, for real. He's been a member of the Chicano-led organization Central CSO for a decade. Again, he's done nothing wrong. It's political theater. Yes. Just like when look, guys, the head of SEIU, California, has federal charges for literally being outside. He did nothing. He was outside of the federal detention center. That's it. That's all he did. That's all he was doing. He didn't even throw a tear gas canister back at the cops. So this is the kind of shit that's actually happening. These are the kinds of people who are being swept up. A U.S. citizen, 9 months pregnant, hospitalized in Hawthorne, California, detained by ICE. Let me just see if I can get my audio here.
surrounded.
Carrie Lopez talking to us from her hospital bed after agents released her and sent her home, she says, following this arrest Sunday at Hawthorne and 120th, caught on video.
My God. Oh my God. She's in her PJs, 9 months pregnant. You should never be allowed to go home and kiss your kids goodnight or hug your parents, or like, you are arresting a 9-month-old pregnant woman out of her house doing nothing, wearing her PJs. You are absolute garbage. Truly garbage. Who hurt you?
I had lost my balance because
she's in her hospital bed talking to the news right now.
He was kind of like shoving me away from the door. That's when I kind of just like leaned forward because I was kind of trying to protect the stomach.
Let her go! She's pregnant!
Video from neighbors we obtained showed them calling for her release. You can hear passerbys honking their horns in protest. Lopez says agents took her into custody, saying she was trying to obstruct their operation. We reached out to DHS for comment and have not heard back.
I'm gonna need you guys to leave. This is private property.
You can hear Lopez on this video she shared with us confronting agents as they pulled up to the building where they were working doing maintenance. The agents were in marked Border Patrol vehicles. She says her husband and co-worker, both undocumented, thought they were being followed by agents when they tried to pull into the building's private parking.
Border Patrol, guys. Border Patrol is here. And you know Border Patrol has a massive jurisdiction, right? Well, however many, it's like, 1,000 miles from the border. Well, that's all the way up. Like, that's pretty north. You know what I mean? Like, this is what's happening. And we'll look at more specifically, but they are federalizing. They are making ubiquitous. You think that the treatment of undocumented people, you think that it stops here, and every fuck in the comments who's like, oh, you shouldn't have gotten involved. Guess what's going to happen? All right. It's going to be you next. We're surveilled by Palantir, and you won't be able to walk to the goddamn store without going through a fucking checkpoint to make sure you didn't tweet anything mean about Donald Trump. Where are you going? Are you going to the library? Those don't exist anymore because, people read and shit. What kind of book are you checking out? It better not have any people of color in it. You think I'm joking? That's what this is. Literally, that's what this is. Like this is the whole point. Surveil us top to bottom, scare us top to bottom. And this woman was filming. She was not being violent. She was not arresting. She was filming ICE activities. And that's when they manhandled her because they couldn't fucking take it.
Her and her cousin, both U.S. citizens, opened up the gate for her husband to enter. They thought agents needed a warrant to enter as well.
Excuse me, ma'am. Listen to me. You're interfering with my arrest.
I was blocking the doors because they were trying to forcefully open them.
First of all, look at the Punisher badges. I swear to God. When I am dictator, ladies and gentlemen, we will be burning every single Punisher sticker, badge. We're going to make a pyre. I mean, it's going to take me a while to gain power, but when I do, just no more. No more. It's a scourge. And look, it's also important to say that here in California and just generally CBP, ICE, a lot of them are also Latino. It's messed up, but it's real. A lot of them are taking the government paycheck. And, a lot of Chicano organizations and La Raza are also like, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't be a tool of the people who are absolutely coming for you next, man.
But I told them they were on private property.
She says agents said it wasn't private property and arrested her, her husband, cousin, and coworker.
I wasn't resisting or anything. I was just like you're gonna handcuff me. But I'm not. I can't fight back. I'm pregnant. They had us all.
Okay, so there we go. I mean, she's in the hospital. These are the people we're being told should stop resisting. These are the people, okay? Like, If she had been out in front of a federal building 9 months pregnant, they would have shot her with a rubber bullet in her fucking pregnant stomach. Seriously. That's the kind of scum we're talking about. And not all. In fact, there's a lot of discontent, which I'm going to talk about in half a second. But apparently Trump has gotten word that when you sweep fields of farm workers, or try to do workplace raids on meat processing centers and egg farms and restaurants and places that rely on immigrant labor, turns out the bosses are like, hey, that's bad. That's like bad for our business. What are you doing? So he apparently is hearing that. Now he's claiming that actually the undocumented immigrants have been taking your jobs. And let's be real, people. It's not AI that's hoovering up our information, our likeness, the sound of my voice right now, and going to regurgitate out like a situation room to you in, I don't know, T-minus 3 years, not even 3 months. It's not AI that's replacing us. It's not robots. It's not the Waymo cars, because it wasn't enough to have a precarious workforce in Uber or Lyft. No. It's the undocumented immigrants who are taking your, strawberry picking jobs. You know how you always wanted to be a strawberry picker? You know how that's always you go to school, you study to be a strawberry picker. You know how what a good life that is, and how easy it is, and how many workplace protections there are in that field of study. No, man, it's hard, grueling work that needs to be better compensated. There should be workplace protections for, but you sure as shit, and I have talked to them, will never find an actual farm owner who can find American citizens, people who can do other work, to work the fields for them. There's a lot of undocumented people. So Trump has been claiming that he's going to make some exceptions, and he's going to try to ease let's think about all the, the owners of these farms. He announced Thursday that changes are coming to protect farmers from losing workers to his aggressive deportation campaign, but no such policy changes are underway. And this is from the Washington Post. Trump's comments in a social media post sought to soothe the industry leaders in the agriculture and hospitality fields, and said a White House official speaking on the condition of anonymity to discuss the president's thinking. I love the speaking on condition of it. You can't even find a Caroline Leavitt. You can't even find a spokesperson to launder this fucking lie for you. The official said there will be no change in the current approach to deportations, adding that no carve-out exists currently. Sorry. They're being honest about what's actually happening. No change in the current approach to deportations, adding that no carve-out exists currently for farm, hotel, or other migrant workers who are in this country illegally. The administration previously directed the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement workers to avoid raiding farms, the person said, noting that agents have swept food production facilities. Immigration enforcement activity appeared to take place at 2 farms in California this week. However, as the administration escalated deportation efforts, Trump's public comments and follow-up remarks Thursday reflected a president pulled in 2 directions, with some business owners pointing out that whole sectors of the economy depend on the labor of people Trump is deporting, while influential MAGA commentators press him to deliver on the aggressive campaign promises that helped lift him into office. I'm really excited for Charlie Kirk to take to the fields of California and start picking everyone's lettuce for them. I'm sure it'll be nice now that we've gotten rid of standards on, testing lettuce for things like E. coli, now that we're a pro-germ country under the under the rubric of RFK Jr., it's just like, everybody wash your vegetables, please. Just wash it. I need to get one of those vegetable washes. I know this is a way to make it about me, but that's all. That's just putting on Franny's to-do list. Buy a vegetable wash because nobody's taking care of you. It's so sick. And the reason, by the way, the reason that all of this is happening is because ICE fired 2 of its top officials for not being fascist enough. And that's why we're seeing what we're seeing. Rachel Atwood said, I feel bad for the horses. I'm assuming that's the cops' horses. I agree. They didn't choose this. I agree. Robert, thank you for your super chat. Rubber covered heavy plastic round, like getting hit with a baseball bat. Yes, it's not a rubber, not fully rubber. It's covered in rubber. Also, Rachel, thank you for your super chat. You got a new job. Can't wait. Can't watch live often. We're not allowed to be overtly political, but I'm rereading The End of Policing when business is slow, leaving it where everyone can see. Is that the oh God, why am I it's his name is so on the tip of my tongue. He's been on the show before, and I used to work, he used to write for. God damn it! I'm gonna it's gonna come to me, please. Congrats on the new job. Thank you, Soul Life, for giving out 5 memberships. That's so nice of you, Gary Alexander. Welcome to membership. You get bonus episodes and my undying love. Social media sucks. I'm not gonna read that comment, but okay. Lil Yumper, why are there no articles of impeachment brought up by Dems? Al Green wanted to do that. Remember when Al Green was like, I'm going to introduce articles of impeachment? I don't know where they went. It seems like not very far, given when you're not in power. But when I say we all know it's a testing ground. We all know that what ICE and CBP have been doing is just simply expanding their jurisdiction, expanding the law, the laws they can skirt. That is in fact exactly what's happening. Trump is planning a nationwide crackdown targeting blue cities. Oh, I think we talked about this maybe a little bit on Wednesday, but New York, Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, Northern Virginia, DC. It's unclear when the raids will start. All ICE agents in those areas have been told to stand by. Let's see. Obviously, Gavin Newsom said something. Oh, sorry. I thought this was a longer little article, but that's effectively what's going to be happening. And here's police chief of Seattle. His name is Sean Barnes, and he's basically saying, nope, I'm not going to comply. I'm not going to do what we're seeing done to the people of LA. In response to a question about federal action in LA, Seattle Police Chief Sean Barnes said Tuesday he expects to be jailed by the federal government at some point during his tenure atop the Seattle Police Department as a repercussion of his standing up for everyone residing in the city. It was a comment given to the Seattle City Council as part of his confirmation process. It was made in the context of intergovernmental standoff in LA in response to widespread protests over immigration raids in the city. Y'all, this is amazing. Hashtag not ACAB or ACAB -1. Here he is saying that he expects to be jailed for not complying.
I will do everything in my power. I want to be clear to protect anyone in Seattle from anyone who comes to this city with the intention to hurt them or inhibit their First Amendment rights. And what that means is
okay, now that could have gone either ways. Anyone who comes in the city, right? You could go a different way with this as a police chief. You could say, outside agitators, the people throwing rocks, and the one guy that threw Molotov cocktails, right? That could be one thing. But no. Anyone who tries to impede their First Amendment rights.
Is at some point, I will probably go to jail and be in prison. Because we have an administration that has threatened to jail politicians. I will do everything in my power.
That is amazing. I want to play that back.
Rights. And what that means is at some point, I will probably go to jail and be in prison. Because we have an administration that has threatened to jail politicians. I will do everything.
Okay. I take back every time I said ACAB. I love this man. I'm sure he's probably presided over some terrible things, but he is 1,000,000% on the right side of history. And if we could only get other police chiefs to go along with Sean Barnes, wherever you are, I send this up to you, all of my love, and the people of Seattle. Damn. Number one, come see me on August 1st and 2nd, please. Live, Bituation Room live on August 2nd, me and Matt, August 1st. That's a digression to say. That's making this, once again, wash vegetables, come see me. But Sean fucking Barnes, that's amazing that he said this. And I wish we could see other police chiefs say the same thing. Again, this is basically bracing to see if troops are going to be deployed or, whether National Guard's going to be sent in. We know ICE is probably going to be sent in. So is the National Guard also going to be sent in to Seattle? What's going to happen? And I think that my follow-up question to Sean Barnes saying this is, are you going to do the same thing when it comes to undocumented immigrants in Seattle, right? Are you going to use the police to protect them? I'm assuming no. I'm going to go with a probably not, because heaven forbid we actually use the police to protect residents of a certain place. But at least he's saying, look, if people are trying to stop the First Amendment rights of, the protesters or anyone who would, try to has something to say about what's going on, I won't allow that. Now, that means he's probably going to get jailed. Who knows? Who knows who's his deputy? On and on and on. Here's the other news: is that the morale is low in the U.S. Marines and National Guard. Morale is low. I can't say the same about the cops. I don't know about them. I feel like maybe they're having a fine go of it. But this, according to The Guardian, troops and Marines deeply troubled by LA deployment. Morale is not great. Is that probably because they're have no hotels will house them? They're sleeping on the floor and shit because there's so many protests. Because every time they try to house these DHS goons and ICE folks and National Guard, they get protested to shit. There's been protests in Pasadena, protests outside of the LAX because they're housing them in some LAX hotels. There's protests in, again, kind of these suburbs, right? Several service members told advocacy groups they felt like pawns in a political game, and the assignment was unnecessary. You think? Different advocacy organizations representing military families said they'd heard from dozens of affected service members who expressed discomfort about being drawn into a domestic policing operation outside their normal field of operations. The group said they have heard no countervailing opinions. The sentiment across the board now is that deployed military force against our own communities isn't the kind of national security we signed up for, said Sarah Strayer of Secure Families Initiative, which represents the interests of military spouses and families, children and veterans. Families are scared not just for their loved ones' safety, although that's a big concern, but also for what their service is being used to justify. Chris Purdy of Chamberlain Network, whose stated mission is to mobilize and empower veterans to protect democracy, said he had heard similar things from half a dozen National Guard members. Morale is not great, is the quote I keep hearing. The Marines and the California National Guard did not respond to invitations for comment. Again, 4,000 National Guard members are here in LA. Also, he activated 700 Marines from the 29 Palms base, 2 hours drive to the east, describing Los Angeles as a trash heap. Oh boy. Oh boy. A pair of YouGov polls published on Tuesday shows public disapproval of both the National Guard and Marine deployments, as well as disapproval of Trump's immigration deportation policies. Washington poll published on Wednesday came up with similar findings, but with slightly narrower margins. Again, all of this is just we need to start getting serious about real immigration reform, about real amnesty, right? And stop this demonization, because this is what happens. It's always going to backslide into this. This is the difference, and I talk about this a lot. It's about decriminalization versus legalization, right? Decriminalization of, again, immigrants not being substances, but you know what I'm saying. If you decriminalize something, okay, you might not be actively trying to root it out or whatnot, but it's still sort of in the shadows. Something is still in the shadows. It's off the books. People live precarious. People are paid less than other folks. Bosses take advantage. Bosses in many different ways, both all kinds of exploitation, right? When something is decriminalized, when it's legalized and regulated, what does that mean? You have better eyes and ears on everybody. There's more civil rights for everyone. People have to come out of the shadows and into the fold. You get paid a minimum wage just like everybody else. That you can't race to the bottom when it comes to the economy and it comes to wages, right? Like that is what we should be doing, is legalizing people. Amnesty for people. I truly believe this. I'm not just saying it. I truly believe it. It is bullshit. If you've been here for 10 plus fucking years and have no so-called criminal record, citizenship. And conversely, maybe if you're doing some crime, I don't know, if you say physically force your way into the Capitol building through a broken window and tried to, find senators and congresspeople to hogtie in the name of your God Emperor Donald Trump, maybe you should be deported to El Salvador. And again, I'm not the person who's like, deport Elon, but a little bit deport Elon, And I just want to say, like, their public opinion is divided on this. And we should only take public opinion with a grain of salt, because public opinion is being massively propagandized to by the right. Whether it's Fox, whether it's, right-leaning newspapers, whether it's, only seeing images of, the cop cars, that got like destroyed, or the Waymos that got destroyed, only seeing these images on repeat and not seeing the images like the pregnant woman being arrested, not seeing images like the woman on the street being shot in her stomach. That's why people buy into this bullshit narrative. And so I hope that the images of Senator Padilla being arrested, it's awful, but also, hell yeah, my guy, like you went to fucking bat. Chuck Schumer could never. Chuck Schumer would Chuck Schumer would curl up in a ball and be like, mama, like it would take him no time to say mama. Like, don't you feel like Chuck Schumer is like he's gonna call for mom within like 12 seconds. He's also gonna be like, Secretary Noem, oh no, okay, that's fine. Okay, good job, bye-bye. Like, this dude, they cannot handle it, right? Yeah. This is a lot of too much I feel like, who's the character from Power Rangers? That's so me, dude. Jan Morgan, holy shit, 10 memberships. That is so generous of you. Thank you so much, everybody. Snatch those up. Appreciate you, supporting this channel with your hard-earned cash. That means really the world. And I hope everybody becomes a patron as well. Patreon.com/bitchuationroom. And Matt and I are going to be in Houston, Texas on August 28th at the Punchline, and all patrons get $5 off your ticket. So there's a coupon code. I'm going to send it out very, very soon, but that's another reason to join the Patreon. 20% off merch, 60% off the American Prospect that I write for, 25% off Sunset Lake Sebed Day, all of the perks. But also, if you're over on Twitch like Mike Boy for Mayor, thank you so much. Hello, I enjoyed the live pod the other week. Wait, did you not say hi? Consider me a regular audience member. Wait, Mike Boy, did you say hi? That would have been tight if you had said hi. Did we talk after? Imitation Asian, thank you for resubscribing. Aaron Ree, thank you for cheering those bits and subscribing for 8 months. Jimmy Bear 420 resubscribed. Lamale 411 also gave out 4 subs. That is, or 5 subs. That is so nice of you. Guys, this is the last show for the next week. Again, cooking up something very exciting for next week to drop. Please share that far and wide. Comment, like. It's gonna be my first time coming back to the old long form, a la news broke. So, but I will be away. I'm on a little vacation, and don't worry, we'll be back right into the fray again tomorrow. No King's Day. Find a protest. Get out there. Find your people. If you don't have people, you'll find them there. Keep yourself safe however you can, but also give them hell. And until we see each other in 2 Tuesdays, fight the power, fuck the patriarchy, free Palestine, and don't just bitch about it, be about it. Bye.